Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, it should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. I appreciate having all of you on board. It's great to see you again. Democrats melting down over the Democrats are just going crazy. This is a story from the New York Post. Democrats and progressives exploded with outrage after the Senate took a giant step toward reopening the government last night. So Representative Ro-Khanna, Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for? Oh, wow. That was done away with on the big beautiful bill. I mean, this had absolutely nothing to do with healthcare premiums. Democrats have tried to make it about healthcare premiums. Had nothing to do with it. It's a clean, continuing resolution. So the Democrats were I think it's really, really important that Americans understand this. You have Democrats who were in control of the government when Obamacare was passed. Not a single Republican voted for it. Not one. Not a single Republican votes for Obamacare. So they shove it down America's throats. And they're the ones, now again, excuse me, they're the ones who wrote the bill, they passed it, all without input from Republicans. Republicans would not play ball. So they went ahead and did it. And when they wrote Obamacare, they're the ones, the Democrats, they're the ones who put in an end date. They're the ones who, had a sunset then on Obamacare. It was them. So all of this, it's just absolutely incredible. You had Representative Seth Moulton, who's another genius. Tonight is another example of why we need new leadership. He said if Chuck Schumer were an effective leader, he would have united his caucus to vote no tonight. Hold the line on health care. And it just goes on. A state senator from Iowa, Zach Walz, remember, Iowa Senator Joni Ernst will be leaving her seat. And he's running for Ernst. He's just an Iowa state senator at this point. So he's out there saying Chuck Schumer has failed us. It's just absolutely incredible. And it just goes on. You had now Jeanne Shaheen was one of the Democrats who voted for it. And then you have Shaheen's own daughter who is running for Democratic nomination in New Hampshire, said, I cannot support this deal when Speaker Johnson refuses to even allow a vote to extend health care tax credits. We need to both end the shutdown and extend the Obamacare tax credits. And it just goes on. I mean, I think I just have a hard time that so many people don't even have a handle on reality, right? They are just out there. Really kind of crazy. So Democrats are melting down. House Speaker Mike Johnson, excuse me, let me take a drink of water here. Forgive me. House Speaker Mike Johnson was talking about this morning. He said of Democrats coming on board, he said, it's a great development. It's long overdue. It vindicates our position in this all along. And then he will have a lot more to say at the press conference this morning. And he said, so how soon will the House return to session? He said immediately. Because he's been holding off until the Senate passes this. He has been holding off on bringing the House into session, right? And Johnson said, we're going to get everybody back at a 36-hour notice, so it'll be happening early this week, he said. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be a big story for the next few days because you'll have what was passed by the Senate will have to go back to the House, and it's going to take some time for a final vote. I really apologize. It's going to take some time. When I'm on the air, I can mute the mic. I can mute the mic here. It's just a little more difficult. So forgive me. You don't hear a lot of that when I'm on the air. My throat just, that coughing, my meds do that to me. So I apologize. But the meltdown by the Democrats is just absolutely incredible. And I think, every time I hear something that's just absolutely crazy, I think, okay, it can't get any worse than this, right? Can't get any worse than this. This is as bad as it gets. And no, you turn around, somebody's out there saying something even worse. So we'll see. There were some other stories this morning just to touch on. The Supreme Court has denied a request to revisit same-sex marriage. So this was a long shot effort to try to get the U.S. Supreme Court then to rule again on same-sex marriage. And the Supreme Court personally, I don't know where you stand on it. It's one of those things I'm comfortable with. If folks, why should the Supreme Court revisit that? I understand, but there were a couple of other stories that caught my attention. Senate advancing the funding bill to end the longest ever U.S. government shutdown. Oh, here we go. Supreme Court will decide on whether mail-in ballots can arrive after Election Day. Because I immediately thought of you. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Should a ballot comes in after Election Day? Now we're talking about mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballot comes in after Election Day. Should it count? I welcome your comments on that. Please feel free. So the Supreme Court will be hearing that case. If mailed-in ballots must be received by Election Day. I think that was the big story that I wanted to touch on with you. Again, I mentioned this on the air this morning, the president pardoning Rudy Giuliani, number of others who took a look at the 2020 election. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But the big story that continues to be I think it's the Democrats melting down over. You got to appreciate the small number of Democrats who joined with Republicans, I think, who did not see an end to what was going on. There really wasn't really any off-ramp at all for them. It's just incredible. I was surprised that it went on as long as it did, the government shutdown. So again, it's going to take a few days before the government is actually back up and running, before doors are reopened and, things resume a little bit of normalcy. And then you wonder, how long will it last? I mean, it's just gotten so frustrating. I would like to see these shutdowns end. I would be very, very supportive of And there are several plans in Congress right now to eliminate these shutdowns so that you don't see them end, so that there's an agreed upon amount of spending that if for whatever reason the federal government shuts down, you're not closing, you're paying air traffic controllers, you're paying the troops, you're paying all of these folks who are federal government employees. You're making sure that they get paid. There are ways to be able to do that. And I fully support it. There is absolutely no reason that America should be still going through this shutdown. And we watch it, and it seems, I don't know, we've had times where, okay, it's not as bad, but it's always this time of the year. You wind up running into the holidays, and man, can you imagine? Thanksgiving is not all that far away. Can you imagine having all of these federal employees then with their families on Thanksgiving, and they're not getting paid for month number 2, 3, beyond, the shutdowns? It's just infuriating that we find ourselves unable to keep our federal government up and running. So you watch all of that unfold, and it's a little bit, at least I think for folks who, we're used to paying our bills, we're used to going to work, we're used to keeping things going, this just doesn't resonate on Main Street. At least it doesn't resonate with me as you watch the way that these things are unfolding. So the end of the shutdown, I would love to see the end of the shutdown. It's pretty crazy. All right, some folks are commenting here on the mail-in ballots, the paper ballots. I appreciate that. Steve's saying, if you don't care enough to get it to your election site for election day, it shouldn't count. Election day isn't a secret. It's true. Kathy is saying it depends on the postmark. Postal service so awful anymore. If someone mails it in at that time, the person can't control delivery. Here's the thing. I think elections are on election day. And I don't think that's going to make me popular with some folks, but elections are on election day. It's not the day after. It's not 2 days after. It's not 3 days. It's not weeks after. Elections are on election day. That's it. They're not in. They're not in. It's not your fault. Whatever. If you couldn't make it to the polling place, that I understand. We have gone to great pains to, with absentee voting, which is a little bit different than the mail-in ballots. I would like to get the mail-in ballots that are handed out, and, organizations that send them out. I would really like to see those go away personally. Unless it's a ballot, you got it from your county, you return it to your county. I think there are ways to do that to make sure your ballot is in. And I know folks who are out there and they know they're going to have troubles on election day. They're out there. Oftentimes they're filling in their ballot a couple of weeks before the election because they want to make sure that their ballot is received and counted. And I appreciate that. I'm a little bit nervous with that. I'm always thinking, what if something happens between now and election day and maybe I want to change? I appreciate those who take the time to vote and getting it done early and getting it in. So when ballots come in after election day, it's unfortunate. Well, it's unfortunate, but these things happen. Our election days turning into weeks or more is just unacceptable. It's one of the things I really feel strongly about. And if you look at our technology now, excuse me, the idea that, we cannot get our ballots counted, tabulated, get all of that done. How was it that 50 years ago, we managed to get that done. But we can't do it now? That just doesn't sit well with me. Whole thing is turned into an absolute mess. All right, my friends, that's all I've got for you today. You have made it to the end of the video. So you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade, the folks that are here each and every day. Small number of them are here each and every day, and I appreciate seeing all of you. Feel free to share your comments. I love hearing from you. Go after them after every podcast afterwards. So thank you. We'll leave it there for today. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Until then, I'm underground and gone.